And to be clear, right, the diaphragm bisects the torso, dividing the visceral and thoracic cavities. And so it, like my hand in this position, it goes from the front of her ribs all the way back to the spine, and then has a little tail even on the front of the bodies, right? So the part of the diaphragm we're getting to is just the very front leading edge, where it's attaching onto the underside of the ribs there. And maybe more accurately, you might be capturing some of the actual diaphragm, but we're trying to really just release all of that fascia and tissue. That will help respiration be easier. And some people get bound up here positionally too. If you spend too much time flexed, then this is all shortened tissue, and so then you can't really straighten out as much as you want. So that's why we're going to do that. A lot of body workers steer away from this for two reasons. One is there's a ton of emotional potentiality in the belly, and then if you work somewhere where a lot of places more and more for liability reasons are having people don't touch the belly, don't touch the butt, don't touch half the body kind of thing, and whatever. Wrong answer, but that's the world we live in. So I do this all the time personally. Okay, so what we're going to do is first find the xiphoid process. We definitely need to know where that is, right? And that's the little tail. You can see here, the little tail at the bottom of the sternum. That part you can damage, right, by pressing hard there, so avoid that. So the first step is to find that. I don't know why you'd be pressing really hard there, but okay, so I'm on her right side, and I'm going to work from the midline out to the left, opposite me, and then come around to the other side. But I'm actually going to do both steps first. So in the image, I'm using my fingertips, and that's true. That is how I do it. I also will sometimes use a combination of fingertips and one thumb, and you can actually see I'm using my fingertips to push that thumb in. So the point of contact is smaller when I do it like that, so it feels sharper.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel, Jessica?
I don't know.
It probably feels strong.
Yeah.
It could be a new sensation, and it should feel strong without being outright painful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm using my thumb, but then the fingers are helping, so my thumb isn't working too hard. Or I can make it a little broader, and so it's a couple fingertips, right? And mainly what I'm feeling for and watching for is that Jessica continues to breathe, and that the tissue is responding, right? I'm not doing this for fun, obviously I'm doing it for the tissue to soften. And a little back and forth is a nice way to kind of coax the tissue into releasing. And you can see the angle of my fingers is such that if she could really release, then my fingers would actually start slipping under that leading rib. Right, if I go like this, then when she releases, I'm not really getting to the diaphragm so much. These points also happen to be good during menstrual cramps, along with the lower points of the rectus abdominis. So the rectus abdominis leading edge on the left side is right about here, so I've kind of gotten to that. But I'm gonna continue on because this is not just for rectus. And I'm just following that leading edge of the lowest rib there. Okay, so you can kind of see like here in the skeleton that I've arrived here kind of at that low point, so I'm not really going to go around the bend. So that's kind of where we want to end. You can actually see how when I press, that's where we are. So for the second part, the next photo is I'm going to keep my right hand here, but I'm going to turn it so that I'm using, instead of the blade, the length of my index finger. So I'm taking a broader approach, but I'm going to use my left hand to pull her rib cage towards me, so I'm like pinning
That feels good.
Good. It should feel good. It's broad. I'm not using the tips of my fingers. I guess you could, but that would feel really pokey. But by pulling the ribs to me, you can see how my hand is kind of sliding under. And it does make a very nice positive contact. And then I'm going to do that a few different places. So a little bit tight there. And you could go back to the to and fro with that hand while pulling the ribs. And the last one here. Okay, so that would be half of it, right? Then we'd come